Donald Trump, big news today. He is taking on D.C., or taking over, I should say, D.C. He's sending the National Guard into Washington, D.C. The media is flipping out. Here's the New York Times story saying Trump to deploy National Guard to Washington, D.C. They're now saying things like, oh, the crime stats, they're really not as bad as he's making them out to be. They're pretty bad. I got to tell you, both my sister and myself, well, she was actually mugged. I was actually somebody stole my purse. But that's never happened ever in my life, except when I was in D.C., okay? My sister, thank goodness she was all right. This is when she was a student at American University, so many years ago in D.C. Thank goodness she was okay, but she was mugged in D.C. She's never been mugged anywhere else in the world, and she's traveled everywhere, and she's been in dicey places. I've certainly had my share of dicey places I've been in, and yet D.C. was the place that, my purse was stolen. So Donald Trump, he knows this. He's looking at the crime statistics. Let me show you. These were unbelievable to me. I couldn't believe this. D.C. is 41 per 100,000 people. 41. That's a lot, okay? Because Mexico City is 8. I mean, when Mexico City is looking safe, you got a problem, DC. You got a really, 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 really big problem. I mean, not to mention Scott W. pointing out, not to mention all of the graffiti. I agree with you, right? It's so nuts. And here's the problem. It doesn't really fall under anyone's jurisdiction. This is part of the issue with it because it's in DC. Patrick Ryan, thank you for sharing the channel with all your friends and family. I appreciate it. This is an important distinction because it's DC. It's kind of in this no man's land. And so they don't even in DC really seem to have the wherewithal and the legal ability to kind of crack down the way maybe they would like to. And so Donald Trump's coming in and he's saying, okay, this is out of control. Look at these statistics. Lima is 7 homicides per 100,000. What the heck is the nation's capital doing at 41? That's outrageous, right? So he's promising to clean things up. Listen to him here today, moments ago, speaking in D.C. Watch.
And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live.
Whoa. Okay. So, no, maybe it's not politically correct, but you know what's not correct? Having a murder rate that is multiples of some of the most dangerous places on earth. That should not be right. I have a little cousin who was working on the Capitol recently, and I found out that she had to go back and forth. Her apartment was nearby, but late at night. And I said to her parents, I'd be really careful. I mean, it's not New Hampshire, right? It is the nation's capital. So you think in your head, okay, it's beautiful, wonderful. Lots of stuff happens there. For some, it's not so beautiful. We can get into the swamp analogy. But here's the thing. You should not feel so threatened just walking around. That's not right. And so he wants to do something about that. And here's the shocker, guys. You know what? And I'll get to this in a second. I want to show you what the mayor is saying, but because that's kind of the shocker. He said Washington, D.C. will be liberated today. Crime, savagery, filth, scum will disappear. I will make our capital great again. The days of all this, bad stuff, they're over. I quickly fixed the border. They had 0 illegals in the last 3 months. D.C. is next. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, of course, the media is mad. The New York Times is saying, oh, his crime statistics are not right, etc. But here's the thing. Muriel Browser, she's the mayor of D.C. She went on to MSNBC. And, of course, MSNBC is expecting her to light the place up and say, oh, this is awful, and to kind of pull a Gavin Newsom, who, by the way, wound up having the National Guard come into California anyway, right? The Supreme Court made the decision. Actually, forgive me, it was the appellate court. It was the Ninth Circuit Court who made the decision on that Trump could put National Guard in California to control for some of the riots they anticipated coming. Anyway, Muriel Browser, this is interesting to me. She didn't really say no. She kind of said, yeah, we would welcome the help. That actually is a practical approach. Muriel, good for you, because I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. You know what? When you got 41 per 100,000 as a homicide rate, and you're worse than Mexico City, for goodness sakes, take every single bit of help you can possibly get. The federal government actually wants to assist you in this. And to the shock this is shock and awe, of the MSNBC anchor asking her questions, she's like, yeah, we can use the help. Here we go.
One of the things that we have seen over and over from the president, from his team, Stephen Miller saying it's like Baghdad in Ethiopia. They seem to hold their harshest criticism sometimes for cities that are majority black and brown. Do you see that, and what do you think that means?
I think that I have been dealing kind of with this issue for a number of years. It's kind of easy fodder on the campaign trail. But now we're talking about governing, and my job is to focus on making sure our city is running well, and people enjoy a great quality of life. And I think we're doing a really good job. We do need...
Whoa! Okay, did you get that? She just totally shot him down. She's like, oh yeah, that's great fodder on the campaign trail, but like, basically, buddy, I am a realist. I am the mayor of this town, and we have a homicide rate that is awful, absolutely awful. And then she goes on to say, like, we need the help of the federal government. Let me fast forward.
One of the things
so
that we have seen.
We do need the federal government's help, as I mentioned, because they have an outsized influence on our criminal justice system. We need more prosecutors. We need more judges. There are other ways to help. Even we want to rebuild our jail, and there are ways that the feds can help with that. But also just doing their part, cutting the grass, fixing the fountains, making sure that federal law enforcement is doing all of the policing that they can do. And I just have to say thank you to MPS, FBI, ATF, who've always worked cooperatively with us, and we expect that they will again.
Like, she's down with having Trump there doing all this stuff. And you know what? That's great. That's great. That's how it should be, okay? We don't, this whole resist thing, I'm sorry, I'm over it, okay? Like, you need to do what you need to do to make sure that your city's safe and that people have opportunities. We don't guarantee outcomes in this country. We guarantee opportunity. That's what makes us different from, the place I'm in, for example, in Europe, right? You kind of, your parents were teachers, you're a teacher. Your parent was a plumber, you're a plumber. Your parents, you are what your family was. Your parent was a waiter, you are a waiter. In America, you can dream to be anything. And by the way, no knock on plumbing, because that's a heck of a job. A heck of a job. Like, an awesome job. Like, part of the problem, right, with America is that we've gotten so highfalutin and we're like, okay, education for education's sake. And everybody comes out and they've got some degree in gender studies, and then suddenly, they can't get a job and they don't want to work. And so they've got this enormous sense of privilege. That's not what I'm advocating for, but I will tell you what I'll advocate for all day long is that you are not defined by how you were born in America or who you were born to in America. Like, this is what makes us the country we are. But how can you give anybody a chance to do anything if your own city is a place that, is worse than Mexico City or Lima or any of these third world countries where you kind of expect that, right? In the emerging market nations, we'll give them a pass. We will. I mean, they've got all kinds of problems. And they need Donald Trump to do like a around the world, right? Around the world in 80 days and help them fix these problems in all these various places. But, it shouldn't be happening in Washington, D.C., nor should it be happening in Chicago or New York City or L.A. or any of these places. I'm tired of it because you cannot give kids and families a chance to achieve the American dream if they're worried about the bus ride home. Right? Like, there are certain basics that we expect from our government. And I'm pretty libertarian on stuff. Live free or die, New Hampshire, born and raised, okay? So I want the government out of most stuff. But there are certain things, and even any libertarian would tell you, and I'm not quite a libertarian because I'm too hawkish to be, but any libertarian would tell you, you got to keep people safe. You got to secure their property. Heck, that's what the Fifth Amendment was about. That's what our founding fathers put into our Constitution. The right to own property and to not have that taken from you. Life, liberty, happiness, not have somebody come along and take your life like this. I mean, you have to enforce the law. And so now Donald Trump is finally willing to do this because you can't have a city like DC, where, heck, Bogota. I've spent time in Bogota. I was amazed. I remember, actually, I did this story a while back. So this has been going on for a while. Back when this is like pre-kids, CNBC. So had to be at least 15 years ago because my twin girls are 15 now. So that was a while back. I went down to Bogota and Medellin. Remember Medellin? That's where like Pablo Escobar was from. And they had a lower murder rate than Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah. So I was like, wow, that's like sort of amazing. Medellin, Bogota. Better than, and then here you go. You look at that list. Lagos on there too, 15 per 100,000. I mean, for goodness sakes. So he wants to clean it up. He's going to take a lot of flack for this, but he doesn't care. And now he's got the mayor of DC, an African-American Democrat. And she's like, all for it. What do you know? So this is good. Like we need a cleaning up in Washington, D.C. I have some stuff to tell you about Adam Schiff today, but before I do, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick shout out for one of our great sponsors. We love our sponsors, right? Do we not here on the Trish Regan Show? Because they enable me to be able to do this and come to you for free every single day. I mean, it's such a rewarding thing to be over here on this platform as opposed to working for one of the big guys, those networks. I'll tell you, and I had opportunities to go to other networks, and I rightly so turned them down. I said, you know what, I'm at a point in my life where I just need total control, total full control. So sponsors help me do that. I also want control over what I eat in terms of ingredients. No joke. I mean, you flip over the container of anything, right? And you're like, wait a second, what's in this? I can't even pronounce half the stuff. It's terrible. I mean, it's one of the benefits, right, of being overseas because you have better, in general, just better, more localized food with less junk in it. Well, one of the greatest things about this sponsor in particular, Balance in Nature, is that it is 100% natural ingredient. We're talking about stuff that you can actually understand. They don't have any binders. They don't have any additives. They don't have any artificial colors, artificial red dye. I won't let my son have it. Seriously. Like, they don't have Shirley Temples overseas. He keeps asking for a Shirley Temple. I'm like, you can't have one. And you know why? Because they don't have the red dye. Well, they all of these things, like all of this stuff is not good for you. And at Balance in Nature, they just have whole fruits and veggies. They're gluten-free. They're vegan-friendly for all of you vegans out there. I don't know how many I have. Let me know. Raise your hand if you're a vegan. These harvested ingredients are freeze-dried into a fine powder using an advanced vacuum-cooled process to better preserve the nutritional value. And so I can tell you with confidence that there's 31 ingredients from fruits and veggies. Every single day, I get those 31 ingredients. So I know that I have at least that basic, right? That basic 31 ingredients, and that's a big deal. So I couldn't possibly eat enough food, I don't think, to give me 31 ingredients from different fruits and vegetables. So consider joining me in taking Balance of Nature. We have a special promo going on right now for a limited time, not just the discount code TRISH with 35% off with free shipping, but you can also get a free bottle of fiber and spice. You need to use my discount code. It's good for the show. It helps me. It helps you. Call them at 1-800-246-8751, 1-800-246-8751, and use discount code TRISH.